himself as a boatman and built a bridge. When he saw Deng Chenyu leading a great army across, someone mocked her with a poetic riddle. However, Deng Chenyu neither blushed nor got angry. She continued forward with an imposing presence. In the subsequent cliffside horseback battle, Deng Chenyu displayed overwhelming martial prowess. Jifa shot 3 arrows in succession, but she dodged them all perfectly. As the fight intensified, Deng Chenyu stepped onto 2 horses and slashed downward at Jifa, who was hanging onto the horse's head, completely overpowering him. Their duel in the jungle further highlighted the differences in their combat styles. Both fell into the depths of the mountains. Jifa fell first and tried to crush his opponent with a boulder. However, his inherently kind nature made him hesitate, longing for a truce instead. When he woke up, he was completely unguarded, reflecting on his lack of experience in war. This was also why he never truly betrayed his enemies. In Investiture of the Gods, Deng Chenyu defeated powerful warriors like Nazhur and Huang Tianhua with her unique hidden weapon, the 5-light stone. Yet, her fate was still tied to the role of a political pawn. Jiang Xia forcibly married her off to the lustful Tu Xingsun as part of his strategy. However, in Wershan's Creation of the Gods 2, Deng Chenyu's character was entirely different. She was not just a cold-blooded war machine. She and Jifa shared the same core belief: preserving their father's spirits mattered more than inheriting power. Thus, when Grand Preceptor Wen massacred countless civilians in an act of absolute loyalty, Deng Chenyu resolutely rebelled. In that moment, conscience triumphed over military orders. In fact, from the very beginning of Creation of the Gods I, the story revolved around the struggle between loyalty, morality, and power. Yin Shou, King Zhou, forced his adopted son to commit suicide to persuade his biological father. Jifa's younger brother secretly plotted to assassinate his father and elder brother. King Zhou declared he would sacrifice himself for the heavens, but first ordered thousands of commoners to build an altar, using their suffering to buy himself time. Amid his father's and adoptive father's actions, Jifa developed self-awareness. His inner journey transformed from admiration to confusion to rebellion. The choice of fate was always the turning point in this brutal war. Through his encounters with Deng Chenyu, Jifa would truly understand the cruelty of war. He, too, would experience the pain of loss. He would no longer be a naive youth. He would not only have courage and knowledge but also the experience of a seasoned commander. Many past adaptations of Investiture of the Gods focused on palace politics and ruthless schemes. However, Wershan's Creation of the Gods trilogy emphasizes human emotions and choices: Jifa's pain and struggles, Deng Chenyu's decisiveness and tenderness, King Zhou's brutality and vulnerability. King Zhou could kill his father, but did you notice he still had moments of fear? From the very start, he personally led charges into battle. He was a hero on the battlefield, never a coward, but at certain moments, he showed panic and helplessness. When Queen Jiang committed suicide, when Grand Preceptor Bai Gan willingly tore out his own heart, when Bai Gan said, "For the sake of the Shang dynasty, I sacrificed myself without hesitation," King Zhou wavered. Queen Jiang and Bai Gan were no match for him in strength. They were so powerless that they could only turn their blades on themselves. Yet, in their eyes, Yin Shou, King Zhou, saw something he could never possess nor comprehend. He believed that power alone could make Jifa submit, but he never realized that family bonds could hold greater power than authority. One phrase is repeated throughout Investiture of the God: the true ruler of the world is he who serves all under heaven. At first, Yin Shou believed this title belonged to his father. When he pursued Jiang Xia to the cliff's edge, he cried out, "The Investiture of the Gods belongs to all under heaven. My father is its rightful master. Why do you refuse to give it to him?" Jiang Xia, in turn, believed Yin Shou was the rightful ruler, pleading with the primordial heavenly lord to save him. However, after being revived, Yin Shou was consumed by hatred. He violated the teachings of Taoism, which forbade killing, and mercilessly slaughtered the Mo family generals. In contrast, Jifa made a different choice. His understanding of all under heaven was about returning peace to the people, not just seizing power. If Creation of the Gods I was about a young man's awakening, then Creation of the Gods 2 is about how that young man fights to protect his beliefs amidst the storm. Though it appears to tell a new story with a different theme, it is, in truth, a continuation of the character's growth, further deepening the ever-changing human emotions in the Investiture of the Gods world. In a 2017 interview with Southern Weekly, Wershan, the director of the Creation of the Gods trilogy, spoke about the misconceptions surrounding blockbuster films in China. He emphasized that mainstream entertainment films should express shared values, reinforcing humanity's eternal beliefs and positive ideals. Movies, as a public art form, mobilize vast social resources and capture the attention of entire audiences. Therefore, they should constantly evoke those timeless values, what we believe in and where our future should go. At a time when both our spirits and ideals are deeply anxious, Creation of the Gods is, ultimately, a story about belief. Belief is the foundation of mythology. Belief can also exist within our own world.